Segment I The Awakening Frequency TM. Chapter 1 The Moment You Remember Who You Are. There is a moment that does not announce itself. It does not arrive with fireworks or fanfare. It does not always come with certainty. Sometimes it arrives as discomfort, sometimes as boredom, sometimes as grief, sometimes as a quiet knowing you cannot shake. But once it arrives, nothing inside you can pretend the same way again. This moment is called awakening. Awakening is not becoming something new. Awakening is remembering something ancient. You were never empty. You were never broken. You were never behind. You were conditioned. You were trained into forgetting your scale. From the earliest stages of life, you were handed instructions before you were handed language. Who to be, how loud to be, what was realistic, what was impossible, what people like you become, what people like you do not. Most people mistake this conditioning for identity. But identity, in its truest form, is not inherited. It is discovered. The awakening frequency is the energetic state where you begin separating who you are from who you were taught to be. This is not a spiritual bypass. This is psychological liberation. It is the moment you realize, I am not my environment. I am not my past. I am not my worst experience. I am not the story that was told about me. You are the awareness observing all of it, and awareness is power. Before transformation can happen, perception must change. You cannot upgrade a life you are still misidentifying. You cannot build a future from a false self. Most people try to skip awakening and jump directly into manifestation, money, fame, love, or purpose. They wonder why nothing sticks. They wonder why cycles repeat. They wonder why they feel blocked. It is because creation obeys identity. Not desire, not affirmations, not vision boards. Identity. Your nervous system, subconscious mind, and behavior patterns are always working to keep you aligned with who you believe you are, not who you wish you were. The awakening frequency begins by asking a simple but destabilizing question. Who am I without my history? Sit with that question, not intellectually, energetically. Let it disrupt you. Most people have never met themselves outside of survival mode. They have never met themselves outside of roles. Daughter, son, partner, employee, victim, strong one, troublemaker, caretaker, invisible one. Roles are costumes consciousness wears. They are not the wearer. When you begin to see roles as temporary, you loosen their grip. When you loosen their grip, you create space. Space is where possibility lives. The awakening frequency is the phase where you start noticing patterns instead of defending them. You start seeing why you choose certain people, why you sabotage certain opportunities, why certain fears repeat, why you shrink in certain rooms, why you overperform in others. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what did I learn that I am still living by? This shift alone moves you from shame into sovereignty. Shame says, I am flawed. Sovereignty says, I was programmed. Programs can be rewritten. You were not born doubting yourself. You were taught. You were not born afraid of visibility. You were conditioned. You were not born thinking your dreams were unrealistic. You were informed by people who abandoned theirs. Awakening does not blame. It contextualizes. It gives you your power back without making anyone the villain, because villains keep you attached. Understanding frees you. One of the first signs of awakening is irritation with a life that once felt acceptable. You start outgrowing conversations. You start craving depth. You start questioning routines. You start sensing that you are meant for more, but you cannot yet articulate what more is. This is not arrogance. This is resonance. Your internal frequency is rising above the bandwidth of your old life. That creates friction. Friction is not failure. Friction is evidence of expansion. The mind wants certainty. The soul wants truth. Awakening happens when you choose truth over comfort. Truth feels destabilizing at first because it removes the familiar. But familiar does not mean aligned. Familiar simply means repeated. The awakening frequency teaches you to become an observer of your internal world. You begin to notice your thoughts are not commands. Your emotions are not dictators. Your past is not a prophecy. You are the consciousness experiencing all three. This realization alone collapses thousands of invisible limitations. You stop living inside reactions. You start living inside choice. Choice is the birthplace of authorship. Authorship is where creators live. You are not here to survive the world. You are here to create within it. Creation does not begin with action. It begins with permission. Permission to want more. Permission to imagine bigger. Permission to outgrow identities that once kept you safe. Permission to evolve publicly. Most people fear awakening because it dismantles excuses. Once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. You can no longer blame timing. You can no longer blame luck. You can no longer blame other people. Not in a cruel way, in a powerful way. Because responsibility equals control. Control equals creative authority. This chapter is not here to give you answers. It is here to activate questions. Questions open portals. Portals lead to new timelines. Your only assignment in this segment is awareness. Not fixing, not forcing, not perfecting, not rushing, simply noticing. Notice your self-talk. Notice your emotional triggers. Notice what drains you. Notice what lights you up. Notice where you feel small. Notice where you feel expansive. Data without judgment. Curiosity without punishment. This is how you begin to meet yourself honestly. Honesty is the doorway to power. You are standing at the threshold of your original self, not the polished version, not the Instagram version, not the healed version, the real version, the one who existed before the world told you who to be, the one who still exists beneath every layer. You do not need to become worthy. You do not need to earn alignment. You do not need to prove your potential. You need to remember, awakening is not loud. It is quiet. It feels like, I can't live like this anymore. And also, I don't yet know what comes next. Both can coexist. That is not weakness. That is initiation. Welcome to the awakening frequency. You have officially begun.